Hey guys, how is it going? It's your boy Gazza9919, and what we're going to be doing today is sort of chasing a problem I've had for a while. So what I've had is when I've been driving along in like say fifth at low RPM, the car's been bogging down, and I initially thought this could have been a gearbox issue. So I was going to do a gearbox service, but that cost £200 all in. Obviously that's with me doing it without taking it to a garage. So I decided to have a little play, and I held the RPM gauge just under 1,000 RPM, and it started dancing at me with the RPM gauge. So that obviously made me suspect that it's not gearbox related. And plus, after a while, I discovered that it did it in other gears as well. So granted, it still could need a gearbox service. It's very likely, seeing as the car's done over 100k. But I'd like to try some cheaper options first, and even if it isn't that, then the things I'm going to replace are things that usually require replacing after a while anyway, so I'm not exactly going the wrong way about this, I feel. So already I have changed both the top camshaft position sensors, and that hasn't really done anything. Next on the list is to change the crankshaft sensor. Now I haven't got any engine light for this, and usually it's to my understanding that it does throw an engine light, but I don't know, it's just one of those things. If I've done it, I know it's done, so I can definitely tick it off the list. There is something with these, you probably noticed by the look of it, but these are like sort of, these aren't the OEM, these are like Chinese sort of sensors. I know BMWs don't like Chinese stuff, but I am on a bit of a budget, so for now it'll have to do. I might end up getting some OEM sensors along the line, but yeah, you can usually distinguish the difference because the OEM sensors at the tip are quite thin and the Chinese ones are a bit thicker, but they still do the job. And also another thing on the list that hopefully I might be doing today, crankshaft sensor is definitely going to be done today. The other thing I want to do today is this, which is the idle control valve. So yeah, this is a bit, from what I've seen, it's a bit fiddly to get to, but you can do it. It's just underneath the DC valve, and then you've just got to unbolt some bar and then disconnect the pipe, and yeah, you just remove it because it like clips in somewhere. But that's another job. If that still doesn't fix the issue, then I'm going to start looking at the throttle body, state of that, and then the throttle body position sensor. But then from what I've heard with the throttle body position sensor, they tend to just go. There is no sort of and an ahhing. But anyway, let's make a start. Okay, sit rep. I haven't really recorded much because it's a bit of a pain down there under the car. I haven't done the crankshaft sensor, so basically you have to take off the under tray, and then you have to take off the reinforcement plate behind it, which is held on by 8 16mm bolts. And then, in theory, in all the videos, you just reach up and then you feel the sensor, unplug it, unscrew it with a 5mm Allen, pull it out, put your new one in, happy days. The issue I'm having, I don't know why. I don't think my arm's any different than any regular person's. I can't get my arm up there. So it only goes up to, you can probably see on the scratch marks, there and there, that that's how far I can get up. And that is that much sort of too short to get in a proper feel for the 5mm Allen and being able to disconnect the connector properly. So you could argue I could somehow manipulate a 5mm Allen key into the bolt, unbolt it, pull it down, and then disconnect the clip that way. But my main worry was that if I can't even feel where it is, how am I going to get that back in, that 5mm bolt? So I've scrapped that plan because it didn't seem possible for me. If I was a bit skinnier, then I might have got away with it. Not shaming, just saying. But yeah, now the only other option to do this is to go in from the top. which from what I've heard is a lot of work, but I think that's the way I'm going to have to go about it. I don't think I've got much of a choice. Now I'm going to move on to the next thing, which is the idle control valve. I'll change that and I'll probably have to come back to the crankshaft sensor another day, but if this idle control valve fixes it, then that's a win-win. But regardless, it'll probably still be a good idea for me to change the crankshaft sensor at some point in the near future. But I want to try and get on with that. Again, I'm not really going to record a lot. I just need to get it done and just sort of dragging you guys along for the process. So for the idle control valve, I believe we've got to take this deesser out, and it's just below that, so we're probably going to have to take the airbox out as well. And the crankshaft sensor, if we want to do that, is all the way down the bottom. But I don't know how I'm going to go about doing that. I'll have a look once I've got all this out of the way. So it put up a bit of a fight, but we got it off because I don't think I've ever had this pipe off before. On the plus side, I have a brand new pipe to put on, so that'll be going on there. Obviously I could probably do with getting a new one of those pipes as well. While we're down here, I'm just going to inspect the throttle and see if there are anything dodgy in there. So I don't think there's too much block in that, so I think it's definitely down to a sensor. I don't think it's getting stuck. So upon removing the deesser, I've found that part of this is split or ripped off. So that's not ideal, and it's really annoying considering I only changed this like a year ago. It just goes to show, if you want better quality, you know, you need to go for OEM. So now we're at this stage, and you can see there, just where that connector's plugged into here, that's where our idle control valve is. So there's two torques here that we've got to undo. I believe it's just the two torques, and then that pulls away. So I've now discovered I need to remove this pipe here, which is all well and good, but somebody at the BMW factory, I suppose, has put the Jubilee clip so it's facing down, basically meaning it's going to be a nightmare. I don't know how I'm going to get anything down there. I might have to try and get a screwdriver down there, or I don't know. I'm going to have to figure it out somewhere or another, because that pipe needs to come off. After a lot of fight and struggle, I managed to get the Jubilee clip off and the pipe. So now I've just got to pull this out. After a really big fight, I got it off. It was sat in that pipe there. For some unknown reason, the video I was watching for advice had a pipe going down there, but this one doesn't. Don't know whether that was the M52. Just looking at the condition of that pipe, it just seemed a bit, there's a bit of a mark in there, but that might have been due to me pulling it off. So this is the component we wanted, and as you can see, it is a bit gunked up in there, to be fair. So it does make me wonder if this is what has been causing it, but we'll change it out nevertheless and then go from there. Also, we can confirm that this is a 20-year-old part, made in Germany. Bosch. Don't know if there's anything we can tell by those numbers there, but I predict that O2 could be 2002. So we've reached this stage now. I've just spent like 20 minutes trying to get a socket out that fell down there. So I had to take the cover off to get that out. Yep, that's bolted back on, secured in, connected up. Just got to get the deesser back in, the airbox, and then we can go for a test drive. Oh, and my new intake hose. Okay, so that's everything back together. Now it's just starting it and see if I get anything coming up. There goes nothing. A little warm up, we'll take it for a drive. So to conclude, what I did didn't solve my problem. It is still doing it, but it's definitely ticked something off the list. So I think it's quite likely to be the crankshaft sensor, because I am having trouble sometimes when it's not quite at operating temp and it's not quite cold, it's sort of in the middle. I try and start and sometimes it will struggle to start a bit, so I think it could be crankshaft sensor related. But obviously that's for another day when I can figure out what I'm doing a bit better on how to get that out. But anyway, that is it for this video, guys. If you did enjoy the video, please don't forget to like, subscribe, maybe even hit that bell icon for notifications on future uploads. But until the next time, peace.